Modern English Proficiency Level, lesson number 11. Today we're going to be talking about pressure, alright? Pressure, like stress, alright? So, first of all, let's do the warm-up. Everybody repeat after me. I would rather be a sparrow than a snail. Yes, I would. I would if I could. I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I could, I surely would. Alright, let's do this one more time. I'd rather be a sparrow than a snail. Yes, I would. I would if I could. I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. I would if I could. I surely would. All right, now this is a song. These are lyrics, okay, which means words to a song by Simon and Garfunkel, a famous band from America during the 1960s, okay? I don't know how this song goes, or I'd maybe sing it to you. But we can talk about what the words in these lyrics, we can talk about what the words mean in these lyrics, okay? So, well, first of all, really important, I would rather be something. If you'd rather be something, it means you choose one thing over another thing. I'd rather be rich than happy, or I'd rather be happy than rich. That's what I always say. But rather means you want one choice over another choice. So, I'd rather be a sparrow than a snail. What is a sparrow? A sparrow is a small bird, a little bird about this size, okay? A very small bird, brown color, brown and white. That's a sparrow, okay? A snail, what is a snail? A snail is a type of animal, maybe about this big, and a snail is one of the few animals that carries its house on its back. A snail has a shell, a little curly shell that it holds on its back, and wherever it goes, it keeps its house with it. Okay, that's a snail. Snail also, I believe they eat these in some countries, like France, for instance. It's a delicacy, something that's very expensive, and also they believe it's very delicious. But anyway, that's a snail, a small type of animal, okay? Now, also, we'll look at, I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Okay, what's a hammer? A hammer is a tool you use to pound a nail, okay? So we have a hammer and we have a nail, hammer and nail. Very important words, okay? But maybe something that we didn't know before. Or maybe something you learned in the past but just forgot. Hammer and nail. Alright? So let's do the whole thing one more time. I'd rather be a sparrow than a snail. Yes, I would. If I could, I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. I would if I could. I surely would. Alright, good job. Let's go on to the next part. Alright, so we finished the warm-up. Let's do a short quiz about the words that we learned during the warm-up. First question. What is a sparrow? What's a sparrow? That's right. A sparrow is a small brown bird. Okay, very good. That's a sparrow. All right? Next question. What is a snail? What is a snail? That's right. A snail is a small animal. Carries its shell on its back. Carries its house with it. Its shell, okay? That's a snail. Very good. Last question. What is a nail? That's right. A nail is a small, thin piece of metal that you use to hold wood together. You hit it with a hammer. Very good. All right, let's move on to the interesting idioms and phrases now. Okay, so we're talking about pressure. Let's look at some things that deal with pressure, okay? Let's do the first one. Repeat after me. Pressure makes diamonds. Very good. One more time. Pressure makes diamonds. All right, now in this sense, pressure. Okay, what is pressure? I'll show you pressure. Put your two hands together and squeeze as hard as you can. That's pressure. Now, if we want to make a diamond, we need to put some coal underground for a long time and push down on it very hard. That's how diamonds are formed. Diamond, of course, you know. Diamond, most expensive kind of stone. That's a diamond. So pressure, pushing very hard, makes a diamond. Okay? So let's say it one more time. Pressure makes diamonds. All right, good. Let's look at the next one. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. All right? One more time. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. All right, now I'd like to change this. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. This is what it should be. But anyway, Same thing, handle and take. Take means I can take it, bear it, handle it, right? If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. It just means if you can't do something, quit. If you can't do your job, if it's too much pressure for you, get out of here. We don't need you. We'll find somebody else that can do the job. Okay? So let's say that one more time. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Okay, good. Let's look at the next one. It's do or die. Good. One more time. It's do or die. All right, this is what you use to describe a situation where there's a lot of pressure or if there's a lot of stress involved. It's some situation where if you don't do something the right way, everything else is destroyed. Everything else is bad. Okay, do or die, a very important time. In a company, do or die. Maybe you have to make enough money before the end of the year or your company can't survive anymore. That would be do or die time. Do something or you die. Now another one I'd like to add is sink or swim. You could use this phrase too. It's sink or swim. Now imagine, okay, if somebody can't swim, you can teach them how to swim very easily, okay? You take them and you throw them in the water. And then you could say, well, it's sink or swim. You could either learn how to swim right now or you sink to the bottom and die. Sink or swim, same meaning as do or die. Sink or swim. All right? Now, let's look at the next one. It's too crazy for me here. All right, one more time. It's too crazy for me here. All right, so you could use this if there's too much pressure in the situation. You could just say it's too crazy. I can't take the pressure. Everything's too crazy here, okay? So let's do that one more time. It's too crazy here for me. All right, let's look at the next one. I can't handle this anymore. Okay, one more time. I can't handle this anymore. Right, if you can't handle something, you can't take it, right? There's too much pressure. You can't get a handle on something. You can't control it. You can't hold it. A handle is something that lets you control a tool, right? So if you can't get a handle on something, it means you can't control it. So let's say that sentence one more time. I can't handle this anymore. Good. All right, let's look at the last one. I hate work. All right, one more time. I hate work. Or you could say, I hate school. One more time. I hate school. Boy, can you guess what the meaning of this is? What's hate? You don't like something very much. You hate it. So you could hate your work. You could hate your school. All right, well, that's it. Let's say that one more time. I hate work. Okay, let's go on to the next part. All right, let's do a short quiz about the idioms and phrases. First question, what is a diamond? What's a diamond? That's right. A diamond is a precious stone made from coal under lots of pressure. Very good. No, a diamond is a precious stone. It's a gemstone. It's made by coal that's under lots of pressure for a long time. That's a diamond, okay? What do I mean if I say do or die? Do or die. That's right. If something is do or die, you either do it or you're dead. You're finished. You can't move on anymore, okay? Next question. What does it mean if I can't handle something? I can't handle something. What am I talking about? That's right. If you can't handle something, it means you can't control it. You can't take it. You can't bear it. Very good.
Sandra, you've been a little quiet since you got home. Is anything wrong?
Oh, I've just been thinking about something I found out today. Have you heard about my classmate Don?
No. What's the matter?
He failed his midterm and decided to drop out of school. The last time I talked to him, he told me his father expects to see good grades this semester. He expects nothing but high marks.
I see. So he couldn't deal with the pressure?
Right. It's really too bad, because Don tried hard to succeed. One time he told me that he pushed himself really hard to do well. I believe him.
I think it's wrong for parents to pressure their children like that. It's hard enough to get through college as it is. I'm glad my parents have never pressured me that way.
I agree. Don said his father never stopped applying the pressure. He was constantly making comments like, "You better study hard. I pay a lot of money for you to go to school, so you better do well."
It's difficult to deal with a situation like that. It makes things really tough. Many students already pressure themselves to do things for various reasons. Most feel if you don't go to college, you'll never get a good job. Just before midterms, one of my classmates said to me, "If my GPA isn't high enough, I can't play any sports."
So, how did he do?
He got excellent marks, so his pressure's off for now.
That's great.
All right, now let's take a look at the 10 sentences. So let's start with number 1. These are all different ways to talk about pressure. First sentence, repeat after me. My parents say that if I don't go to college, I will never find a job. Okay, one more time. My parents say that if I don't go to college, I will never find a job. Okay, so in the United States, parents usually stress college very strongly. They want their children to go to college or university to get a degree so you can find a better job. And it's really true in the United States. If you don't go to college, you won't find a very good job. It's probably the same here too. Everybody wants their children to go to college, right? So anyway, let's read the sentence one more time. My parents say that if I don't go to college, I will never find a job. Okay, good. Let's look at the next one. I didn't want to go out to drink with my friends, but I went anyway because of peer pressure. Okay, one more time. I didn't want to go out and drink with my friends, but I went anyway because of peer pressure. All right, what does this mean? Let's look at this. The phrase peer pressure. Are you familiar with this? What is peer pressure? Well, I'll describe this to you, okay? Your peers are the people that are close to you, the people that are the same age as you, or the people that are the same level in society as you. So if you're a student, your peers are the other students around you. If you're a teacher, your peers are the other teachers around you. Okay, so that's your peers. So if you feel peer pressure is a very strong thing. A lot of people start to smoke because of peer pressure. Maybe all your friends smoke, so you feel, I want to try too. You feel peer pressure. Maybe all your friends are drinking, okay? But also, maybe your parents will tell you, well, at least in America, there's an old saying, if your friends all jumped off a bridge, would you jump off the bridge too? Well, okay, think about that. If your friends all did something stupid, would you do the same thing? Probably, I don't know. If all my friends jumped off a bridge, I'd probably be pretty lonely. So maybe I would. But anyway, this is peer pressure. If everybody does something, you will feel the need to do it too. That's peer pressure. So let's do it one more time. I didn't want to go out to drink, but I went anyway because I felt peer pressure. All right, good. Let's look at the next sentence. We're not going to give you any pressure, son. You do what you like. All right, one more time. We're not going to give you any pressure, son. You do what you like. Now, this is something maybe your parents would say to you. We're not going to give you any pressure. We're not going to pressure you. We're not going to tell you which way you want to decide something. We're just going to let you decide yourself. This is a way to take the pressure off. Just say, let you decide, okay? All right, so let's do the sentence one more time. We're not going to give you any pressure, son. You do what you like. All right, good. Let's look at the next sentence. Number 4. I have to study for my exam tomorrow, so I'm not going to dance tonight. All right, one more time. I have to study for my exam tomorrow, so I'm not going to dance tonight. All right, so an exam is a test, right? You have an exam tomorrow, so probably you should go to bed early. You can't go out and dance all night, right? So you're feeling pressure. You have pressure because you have an exam coming up or a test coming up. You have to study. You have to go to bed early so you can take a good test. You don't want to go out and party all night. So let's say the sentence one more time. I have to study for my exam tomorrow, so I'm not going to dance tonight. All right, good. Let's look at the next one. Number 5. I have to maintain an average GPA of 2.5 in order to keep my sports scholarship. All right, one more time. I have to maintain an average GPA of 2.5 in order to keep my sports scholarship. First of all, GPA, grade point average. We take all your grades, we give them a number, we average them together, and what that comes out with is your GPA, all right? So 2.5, that's a pretty low GPA. If you had all A's, you'd have a 4.0 GPA. If you had B's, you'd have a 3.0 GPA. So that's grade point average, okay? Now, sports scholarship. This is important. A sports scholarship. Sports, you know, right? Play a sport. Play basketball. Play soccer. Play football. Something like that. That's a sport. Now, a scholarship is when you go to a university and they give you a little money, or actually maybe they pay for your whole school. They pay for all your studies because you're good at a sport. Maybe you're a very good basketball player, and the school really wants you to come to their school and be on their basketball team. So they'll offer you some money, or they'll offer you free school just so you'll come to their school and play on their basketball team. Make them have a better basketball team. Okay? So that's a sports scholarship. Let's look at the next one. Oh, well, let's read that one more time. I have to maintain an average GPA of 2.5 in order to keep my sports scholarship. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Number 6. I function better under pressure. Good. One more time. I function better under pressure. All right, now this is some people have this attitude. They think that they work better when they're under pressure. If they feel some stress, they think they can do a better job. So function just means to work, right? You function, you're working, okay? So some people say they work better when they feel a little pressure. So let's do the sentence one more time. I function better under pressure. All right, good. Let's look at the next one. Number 7. This is a highly competitive grant, but I think I can get it. Okay, one more time. This is a highly competitive grant, but I think I can get it. Good. So highly competitive, what does this mean? Competitive comes from the word compete. If you compete, that means two people are trying to win something, trying to get something. So if I compete with you, I can play a game with you. I can play basketball against you. I'm competing with you. You can also compete for something like a grant. Now, a grant is basically like free money from the government, like a research grant. Maybe if you're a scientist and you want to research something, you want to try and cure some disease like cancer, the government will give you a grant, give you some money so you can just work on that subject. That's a grant, okay? All right, so let's read that sentence one more time. This is a highly competitive grant, but I think I can get it. All right, good. Let's move on to the next one. Number 8. Every day I run to work because I'm afraid that I would be late and the traffic is very bad. Okay, one more time. We'll read it with correct grammar. Every day I run to work because I'm afraid that I will be late and the traffic is very bad. All right, so if you're late to work, right, you get there not on time, you get there too late, right? You run to work every day because you don't want to be late and because the traffic. What is traffic? Traffic is when the cars are going back and forth on a street or on a road. That's traffic. So sometimes you have bad traffic. You can get stuck in a traffic jam. That means all the cars have stopped. You can't go anywhere. That's a traffic jam. So you're worried that you might be in a traffic jam. All right, let's move on to the next one, please. Number 9, I'm exhausted. I stayed up all night trying to finish this project. Okay, one more time. I'm exhausted. I stayed up all night trying to finish this project. Okay, once again, exhausted. You're so tired. All your muscles are tired. You can't stand up anymore. You feel so tired. You're exhausted. And a project would be something like a science project. Maybe you make a small model of something. A project could also be a research paper, just something you have to do for school, or a project could be something you have to do for work, something you're supposed to work on is a project. All right, so let's read this one more time. I'm exhausted. I stayed up all night trying to finish this project. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next one. Number 10. The whole office dynamic here really stresses me out. You can't trust anybody. All right, one more time. The whole office dynamic here really stresses me out. You can't trust anybody. All right, first of all, office dynamic. What does that mean? An office dynamic is just how an office works, how people interact with each other, how they treat each other. That's the office dynamic. Now, if it's a bad dynamic, maybe everybody lies to each other. Everybody tries to hurt each other. Maybe people stab each other in the back. Now, literally, if you stab someone in the back, you take a knife and you stick it in them. That's stab. But if I'm talking figuratively, if you stab someone in the back, it means you talk behind their back. You talk when they're not around, and you maybe say something bad about somebody when they're not there. That's stabbing them in the back. So maybe if people do that a lot, you have a bad office dynamic, okay? So you could also say, it stresses me out. Well, if something stresses you out, it just means you feel a lot of pressure. You feel too much stress. I'm stressed out. I'm feeling too much pressure, okay? You can use this for any situation. This stresses me out, okay? This war somewhere is stressing me out. I'm worrying about it too much. I'm stressed out. All right? Okay, and finally, you can't trust anybody. Trust is an important word. If you trust somebody, you believe they will treat you fairly. You don't think they will try to do something bad to you. You trust them. Okay? So let's read the whole thing one more time. The whole office dynamic here really stresses me out. You can't trust anybody. All right, very good. On to the next part. All right, now it's time for a short quiz about the words we've learned. Tell me, what does the word college mean? If I say I'm going to college, what does that mean? That's right, college is like a university, okay? It's higher education. After you get done with high school, you go to college. Very good. Next question. If I say I'm feeling a lot of peer pressure, what am I talking about? What is peer pressure? That's right, peer pressure is when you see all your friends doing something, you feel like you want to do it too. That's peer pressure, okay? All right, next question. What is an exam? What's an exam? That's right, an exam is a type of test. It's short for examination. Very good. Next question. What is a sports scholarship? That's right. A sports scholarship is when you get a little money to play a sport for a team in a college, or when you get your whole school paid for, when you get all your education paid for by a school because you're a good athlete. Next question. What does the word function mean? What does the word function mean? That's right, function means to work, right? Function, very good. Next question, what does the word competitive mean? If I say something is competitive, what's that mean? That's right, if something's competitive, a lot of people want to get it. A sport would be competitive because people want to win. They compete to win. Very good. Next question. What is a grant? Right. A grant is when the government gives you some money to do something, like for research. Very good. Next question. What is traffic? What is traffic? That's right. Traffic can be used to describe the cars that are driving on the street. That's traffic. All right, last question. What does the word exhausted mean? What does it mean if I say I'm exhausted? That's right. If I'm exhausted, I mean I'm so tired. I can't even stand up anymore. I'm so tired. Very good. All right, now it's time for a quick joke. I have a doctor joke for you, okay? A man walks into a doctor's office and says to his doctor, "Doc, when I touch here, it hurts. When I touch here, it hurts. When I touch here, it hurts. And when I touch here, it hurts." The doctor looks at him. He's a little confused. And he says, "Of course it hurts. You idiot. You have a broken finger." Yeah, okay, anyway. What does this mean? A broken finger. His finger's broken, so of course, wherever he touches, it hurts. All right, I hope you enjoyed that joke. On to the next. All right, well, I just want to say a few words about pressure before we finish here, before we go on to the role play. Pressure is dealt with differently in different societies, I think. And in some societies, like America, pressure can be dealt with medication, right? A lot of people are on Prozac in America. If you feel too much stress in your life, you just go to somebody called a psychiatrist. You can sit down, or a therapist. Okay, first of all, a psychiatrist. This is a medical doctor, and what they do is they deal with your head if you have mental problems. Slang for this is a head shrink, a shrink, right? Somebody that you can talk about your problems to. And a psychiatrist can actually prescribe drugs for you. If they think you're under too much pressure, if they think it's dangerous for you to be under that pressure, they can give you some kind of drugs that can calm you down, or some kind of drugs that can make you feel happier, like Prozac, something like that. In some other countries, we don't have this way to deal with things. I mean, in China, I don't know very many people that are on Prozac. I have seen that you can buy it here in the drugstore, actually over the counter, but you don't need a prescription or anything. But anyway, so that's a psychiatrist, okay? On the other hand, you have somebody that's called a therapist. Now, this is a person that's licensed, but probably didn't go to school as long as a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist has been to school for many years, just like a medical doctor. A therapist is somebody you can just sit down with and talk about your problems. They're trained to deal with this, trained to help you walk through the different steps and figure out your problem. Now, in China, I think most people would just use a good friend for this, right? Just go to your friend, call your friend, and say, well, I'm having a problem with this. Okay? But in America, a lot of people go to therapy or go to a psychiatrist to deal with this kind of problem. That's one way to deal with stress. Also, in some societies, people feel more stressed than in other societies. I think in Japan, actually, there's a very high heart attack rate for business people. You know what a heart attack is? It's when you feel so much stress, finally your lifestyle is so hard, so hectic, so stressful, your heart just gives out and you die. A lot of these people die from heart attacks at an earlier age, these businessmen, because they feel so much pressure, they feel so much stress. Well, one of the reasons for this is because of something called pace of life. This is another subject I'd like to talk to you about, pace of life. Some countries have a faster pace of life than other countries. In Japan, if you ever go to Japan, you'll see people walking on the street very quickly, walk, 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 walk. Maybe they're just going to the store, but they still want to go there quickly because the pace of life is much faster. Now, in other places like America, some places in America, the pace of life is slow. Like where I come from, the pace of life is very slow. People do things slowly. But in some places like New York City, probably looks a little more like Japan. People are walking around really quickly, want to go, 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 have a faster pace of life. China, I think, would probably be in between these two. Not so slow as some places, but not as fast as some other places. Now, one place that's really well known for their slow pace of life would be Mexico. Mexico, people like to take things very slow. Eat a little meal, then have a nap, then do something else, and then sleep for a little while. They have a very slow pace of life there, probably because it's so hot. Nobody wants to move around very quickly when you're hot. But anyway, this is pace of life, okay? Certain countries just move a little quicker, and it can make you feel more pressure than other countries. All right, let's move on to the next section. Calm down, okay? One more time. Calm down. All right, so if somebody walks into the room and starts saying, they lost their kids. You can say, what are you talking about? Calm down. You have to calm down a little bit, and then you can speak clearly. That's calm down, right? Don't be so crazy. Don't be so emotional, right? Another way you could say this is settle down. Settle down. Just take a breath, take a rest. Settle down a little bit. Calm down. Okay, settle down could also be used in another word, and so can settle down. Let's say I'm the teacher. I come into the classroom. Everybody's talking and throwing stuff and, standing up. I could say, everybody, calm down. Okay, everybody be quiet. Another way to say that. Or everybody settle down. That means everybody settle down. Get into your seat. Sit down. Okay? So two ways to say this. Settle down or calm down. All right, now it's time for our role play. So what I want you to do is get together with one partner. Make a group of 2 people. And I want you to talk about this question. Okay? Well, I want you to make this little play. Okay? So listen to the instructions. You and your coworker have to finish a lot of work by Friday. You don't have enough time, and one of you starts cracking. One of you starts to crack. You crack under the pressure. You start to feel so much pressure you can't take it anymore. That's cracking, okay? One of you starts to crack. You have to convince the worker who wants to quit that he or she should stay since they're learning and making so much money. So you have to try to convince this person that's cracking. You have to try to tell them, please don't quit. You're learning so much at this job. You're making so much money. All right? So get into groups and do this little role play. Okay, let's do a role play. I want you to get together with a partner. And here's the scenario, okay? Here's the subject. Tomorrow, you have a big test, all right? So you have to talk about this test and use some of these words that we learned already in the book, okay? Don't forget about such emotions like stress or courage, sadness, cheerfulness, okay? Talk about your emotions in these ways and use some of the sentences we learned in the book, okay? So, you got a big test tomorrow. Talk to your friend who's a student in the same class with you, all right? So get together in a group